One quick tip for you guys, what's on paper and what happens here sometimes is not the same. I'm on the third floor of the 3-family that we bought here in Roxbury. And I wanted to bring you back just to show you some progress, but most importantly, talk about exactly the steps that we're taking and the thought process when we purchased the property. And let's move around. Actually, I wanted to show you guys what we are doing, but we got a kitchen, we got a full bath, and then this is going to be a 3-bedroom, 2-bath apartment. And the reason why we're doing that is because it's going to bring us a lot more rent. On a buy and hold investment, we're all about how much rent we can bring in and how much cash flow this building is going to give us. So that's what we are thinking. I wanted to share that with you guys. This can be an amazing condo conversion. You can make a ton of money that way, but we want to keep it long term, like I mentioned. Construction process. Once we closed on it, and actually even before closing, we got our architect involved. It's extremely important to have a great architect that knows what they're doing, especially if it's the city of Boston, because the architect is involved also in the permit process. If they are good, if they know the city, if they know the process in Boston, they can guide you through the process of collecting all the paperwork you need for a permit, which is a lot. You need stamped architect plans. You need fire alarm plans, you need engineering plans, you need sprinkler plans, right? So you need all these plans, and a good architect, it's actually where it all starts. I say that because an architect will tell you and will guide you through the process of how many bedrooms you're gonna need in each unit, right? Here we decided to go with 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, but if this was gonna be a condo conversion, maybe a 2-bedroom, 2-bath with a nicer kitchen to living floor plan, or I should say open floor plan, would probably be better, right? So that all starts with a great architect. They will give you the plans, they'll ask you for some feedback, but usually it starts with them. So architect, super important, the engineers, all that team that I just mentioned, extremely important, but you gather all this information and then you're most likely gonna need a general contractor. So for this particular job, I pulled my own permit. I'm a general contractor in Boston, so I can pull permits for myself. But starting out, or if you are not a GC, right, you're probably gonna have to hire somebody. That is gonna be the second most important hire you do after the architect, because those two are really gonna get you to the finish line. So a general contractor will pull all the permits, he's gonna bring the team together, and he's gonna execute. What else we got? This is one of the bedrooms that you guys are looking at. There's another bedroom in the front here. We created a small hallway, but the goal was really to have nice high ceilings, a ton of light. Just we want to have some really nice, luxury rental units here. So what does the rehab process look like on a project like this one? It's a 3-family, full gut rehab. Let's say you got permit in hand, ready to start the day. For us, day one is clean out. You guys were here right after demo and clean up, but honestly, that's number one. Clean everything out, put a dumpster in the street, pull a street permit, because if you're in the city of Boston, you gotta do that. Get a crew, get all the junk out, right? You gotta start fresh. Once you do that, you gotta print those big architect plans, have them here, and then have your demo crew go and follow the plans, because certain walls will be removed. Here, we created a total new layout, right? It was a 3-bedroom, 1-bath before, no kitchen or bath, was all a mess. We started fresh. We followed the architect's plans. And then once all the junk is out, all the demo is done, then you bring the framers in. And framers will do the same thing. They'll look at the plans and they're gonna execute on it. One quick tip for you guys, and something I did yesterday here actually. What's on paper and what happens here sometimes is not the same. What I mean by that is the architect will draw on paper, but you as the building owner or the investor, you gotta come and be present, because you wanna make sure the flow of the apartment is great. Because this is your chance to make sure the layout is perfect, the light coming in is good, right? You got windows in the right place, so you got to walk the project with the framers or with the GC, whoever is handling the management. Don't rely just on the paper. Come and walk and make sure that it flows. Make sure it's what you envisioned on the project, right? So that's what I did here yesterday. I came and actually I moved a few things. We changed the kitchen layout a little bit. We changed a few doors and windows. Once this is all framed, that's when all the other subcontractors can come in, right? All the mechanicals. Electrician comes in, plumber comes in, HVAC contractor comes in, and those guys can probably work at the same time. They don't like to do that, but you can schedule it in a way where maybe electrician starts first, Plumber starts in a couple of weeks, and same with HVAC. But those guys can only come once framing is done. In Boston, though, it's super important that you get a weather-tight building before it gets too cold outside. So for us right now, what we are doing is we are rebuilding the front decks. The same crew that did the framing on the inside, they're gonna build on the outside, and they're gonna install the siding. We're gonna get our roofer to install new roof. And you probably saw that most of the windows are in, and that will allow us to have a weather-tight building. Siding, roofing, exterior work, right? So it's all done, and now we can focus inside. Since this is gonna be a winter project for us, we can finish up the rest. I mentioned the mechanicals to you guys. That's all done. You call for inspection, right? Because once framing is done, electrician, plumber, in this case here, HVAC, fire alarm, sprinklers, all these guys come in at the same time. They install that, then you call the inspectors to come and inspect. Every trade will call their own inspector. Electrician will call their inspector, plumber will call their inspector. These guys go all before me, and I'm the last one usually to call the building inspector for framing. He comes in, checks it out, he signs off. At that point, we can call our installation guy. He comes in, he's gonna insulate everything based on the R value that the architect called on plans. And then before we put drywall up, I actually call the building inspector to come back here, because that's another thing they check. They wanna see that what you put on the walls as far as installation matches what the code is or what they are expecting of us. So before we close the walls, because once we close the walls, they have no clue, right? They don't know what we did. So he comes and checks it out. He wants to make sure that there's fire blocking everywhere, and then the walls are insulated. If we get that next inspection from him signed off, then we can move to drywall. And I love that part of the project once we got drywall everywhere, because it feels like a real apartment at that point. You could see the layout nicely done. Drywall goes and gets installed. Next is probably gonna be all the finish contractors. Flooring goes in, all the doors will go in, the baseboards, the trim, right? The kitchen and baths, the tile guy comes in. They do a lot of that work for the next 3 months, let's say. And then we focus on just wrapping up the project. You bring the painter, you bring our finished carpenter just to tie any loose ends. Our designer will bring all the lights and fixtures and plumbing fixtures, right? And everything else that happens here. There's a lot of work, guys, on that usually 30 to 60 last day of the project. During the last 30 days, then we're gonna bring our rental property manager in, and he will start showing the unit, maybe before it's done, so we can start getting some applications. And then what we got left is final inspections. So once everything is done, when all the lights are installed, the fixtures, all the finish work is done, every trade will call for final inspection. And actually, I shouldn't say every trade, but it's mostly electrician, plumber, and HVAC contractor, fire alarm, and sprinkler. They're gonna call for final inspections, and I also call my building inspector for a final inspection after that. Once everything gets signed off, then we can go to the city and ask for a occupancy permit. So that will be the final thing you guys do. You're gonna have to talk to the fire department also. They come and do their inspection. But there's a bunch of things at the end that you need. But other than final sign off, like I said, you need the occupancy permit. That is the final thing you need. And then you can rent out the building, or you can sell as condos, whatever you need, right? So the reason why I'm sharing with you guys the rehab process is that it's important to know the order of things. If you are the GC or if you are the investor, it's good for you to be aware and informed on what happens after you pull a permit. The fact that you need a team in place from day one. The fact that you need a schedule. Not everybody comes at the same time. Like, don't do that. Don't call the demo guy and the electrician at the same time before finish framing, right? Get the plans, have everybody follow the steps that I just mentioned. And why this is gonna help you guys is that you're gonna finish this project quicker. And by finishing quicker means that you're gonna make more money, because every day that we hold this project, there is a cost to it. So that's all I got for you guys today. Hopefully this was helpful. Please like, share, subscribe, give me some love there. Would love to share as much of what I'm doing with the rest of the world, so you guys can help me do that. Comment below. I know you got questions. I know some of you are reaching out to me through email, text, calls, and that's perfectly fine, but comment below. I would love to just jump in here and give you some feedback right away, so do that. Come join me in the networking events. I really hope you guys do that, because they're a lot of fun and we can just meet in person and hang out. So that's all I got. Catch you guys on the next one.